चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत प्रसादा स्वाद्वन्न तृप्तान हरिभक्त संगान कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 types of delicious food, that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavat Prasada, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, Param Pujya Guruji. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Vyasam Vasishthanaptaram Shakti पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः अविकाराय शुद्धाय नित्याय परमात्मने सदैकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे सर्वजिष्णवे यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण जन्मसंसारबन्धनात् विमुच्यते नमस्तस्मै विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः. राम रामाय शान्तारामाय सद्गुरु रामाय शान्तारामाय दय गुरु रामाय शान्तारामाय जय गुरु रामाय शांतारामाय राम राम. बोलो सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. बोलो राधा रानी अरुणामाई की जय. चरण स्पर्श to परम पूज्य गुरुजी. चरण स्पर्श to all devis and mahatmas. जय श्री कृष्ण गुरुजी.
जय श्री कृष्ण गुरुजी.
Book 3, Discourse 12. The multiplication of creation. Maitreya continued, thus I have told you, O Vidura, the glory of the Supreme Spirit under the name of time. Now hear from me how Brahma, the repository of the Vedas, proceeded with the work of creation. Verse number 2. To begin with, Brahma, the first maker, evolved the 5 varieties of ignorance, that is, tamas, ignorance about one's own self, moha, self-identification with the body, etc., maha moha, the craving for enjoyment, tamishra, anger, and andhata mishra, looking upon death as one's own end.
I think it is tamas, ignorance about one's own self. And the other one is andhatamas, tamishra, tamishra, anger. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah. Verse number 3. He was, however, not pleased with himself to see this most wicked creation. Through his mind, purified by meditation on the Lord Brahma, the self born, then evolved a creation different from the above. That is, the sages Sanaka and Sanandana, and Sanatana and Sanat Kumara, who refrained from all worldly activity and were Urdhvaretas, that is, lifelong celibates. Verse number 5, Brahma the self born said to these sons, Dear sons, do you beget offspring? They, however, were little inclined to do so, since they had set their heart on Lord Vasudeva as the highest goal and had taken a vow of renunciation as a road to liberation. Thus disregarded by his own sons who had flouted his command, Brahma strove to curb the fierce anger generated in him. Verse 7, But notwithstanding his effort to restrain it by force of reason, the passion of Brahma, the lord of created beings, forthwith broke through the middle of his brows in the form of a boy of dark red hue. The body, who was no other than Lord Rudra, the eldest born of the gods, cried, Give me names, O Creator, and also allow me abodes, Father of the Lord. Intending to comply with this prayer of the boy, the worshipful Brahma, who was born of the lotus, replied in kind tones, Do not cry, I shall presently do it for you. Verse 10, Since you wept as a frightened child, O chief of the gods, hence people will call you by the name of Rudra, one who weeps. Verse 11, The heart, the senses, the vital air, ether, the air, fire, water, earth, the sun and the moon, and austere penance. These are the abodes I have already assigned to you. You will be further called Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Rithadvaja, Ugareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Dhritavrata, according to the abodes assigned to you. Verse 13, Dhi, Vritti, Ushana, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Sudha, and Diksha, O Rudra, shall be your wives, who will all be called Rudranis as a class.
Yeah.
Verse 14, Accept these names and abodes and consorts too, and beget through these numerous progeny, since you are a Prajapati, a god presiding over creation. Verse number 15, Thus enjoined by his father Brahma, Lord Neelohita, so called because of his dark red hue, begot progeny resembling himself in strength, appearance, and disposition. Brahma, the lord of created beings, was alarmed to see numberless hosts of Rudras, gods presiding over destruction, procreated by Rudra, devouring the creation on all sides. Verse 17, Beget no more of such progeny, O chief of the gods, who are burning with their fearful eyes all the four quarters, including myself. Practice austere penance that may bring happiness to all living beings. God bless you. Through penance alone you will be able to create this universe as it was before in the Kalpa preceding the last Pralaya. Verse 19, and through penance alone can a man easily attain the Lord, who is supreme effulgence, nay, who is beyond sense perception and dwells in the heart of all living beings. Verse 20, Maitreya continued, Thus instructed by Brahma the self-born, Rudra said, All right. And taking leave of the Lord of Speech and going around him as a mark of respect, he retired to the woods with intent to practice austere penance. Equipped with the creative energy of the Lord, Brahma now contemplated further creation and presently produced 10 more sons who were instrumental in multiplying the creation. That is, Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vasishta, and Daksha, Narada being the 10th. Narada sprang up from Brahma's lap, Daksha from his thumb, Vasishta from his breath, Bhrigu from his skin, and Kratu was evolved from his hand. Pulaha emanated from his navel, the sage Pulastya from his ears, Angira from his mouth, Atri from his eyes, and Marichi came out of his mind. Verse 25. Dharma, the god of virtue, from whom was descended Lord Narayana himself, in the form of the twin brothers Nara and Narayana, appeared from his right breast. Even so, Adharma, the spirit presiding over unrighteousness, from whom sprang the god of death, the terror of the whole world, appeared from his back. From his heart sprang up Kama, the god of love, anger from his brows, and greed from his lower lip, Vak, the goddess of speech, from his mouth, the oceans from his penis, and Niritti, the chief of the Rakshasas and regent of southwest, the spirit presiding over sin, from his anus. 27. The sage Kardama, the spouse of Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila, and a master of his self, was evolved from his shadow. In this way, the whole of this creation was evolved either from the mind or from the body of Brahma, the maker of the universe. Verse 28. Vidura, we are told, that eager to push on the work of creation, Brahma, the self-born, fell in love with his own daughter Vak, who was most handsome and captivating, but she had no carnal desire in her. The footnote: even though Brahma, who had been commissioned by the Lord to carry on his own work of creation and has been spoken of above as the first seer or Adikavi, Vedagarbha, a repository of the Vedas, and Vedamurti, Veda personified, and who had not only been blessed by the Lord never to fall a prey to delusion while proceeding with the work of creation, but had been admitted by him as having known his truth, could not evidently have stooped to such depths of moral degradation. The incident is only intended to illustrate the blindness of passion and justify the note of warning sounded by our wise forefathers not to see even one's own mother, sister, or daughter when she was all alone. We read elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavata itself, one should never remain alone even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. Powerful are the senses which lead astray even a learned man. 29. Finding that their father had set his heart on unrighteousness, his sons Marichi and the other sages remonstrated with him out of filial affection. It is strange that you, a master of yourself, should seek to copulate with your own daughter, unable to control your passion. It is something which was never done by your predecessors in office, the Brahmas that preceded you, nor will it be done hereafter by your successors, the Brahmas that are going to follow you. Verse 31. This is not something praiseworthy even for the all-powerful, O preceptor of the world, preceptor of the world. For it is by following the conduct of such people that the world finds its way to happiness. Verse 32. Obeisance to the Lord, who by his own light of wisdom manifested this universe which already lay dormant in him. May he protect the cause of righteousness. Verse 33. Brahma, the lord of Prajapatis, felt much ashamed to see his own sons, the lords of created beings, thus pleading with him before his very eyes, and immediately cast off his body. The four quarters picked up that fearful body, which continued in the form of fog, also known by the name of darkness. Once, when Brahma the creator was pondering How should he be able to create the worlds as an organic whole as before? The four Vedas issued from his four mouths, one from each. Even so, the four supplementary Vedas, logic, and other allied sciences, such as dialectics, Mimamsa, and so on, the functions of the four priests required to officiate at a sacrificial performance, the elaborate procedure of performing sacrifices, the four pillars of virtue, the four ashramas or stages of life, and the duties assigned to each also appeared from his mouths. Vidura said, when that lord of the Prajapatis, the progenitors of the world, evolved from his mouths the Vedas and other things enumerated by you, tell me in detail, O great ascetic, what did he produce from which mouth or other organ? Maitreya replied, Brahma brought out the four Vedas called the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Atharva Veda, severally from his mouths facing the east, south, west, and north. And in the same order did he create Shastra, the duty of the priest called Hota, Ilja, the duty of the Adhvaryu, Stuti Stoma, the duty of the Udgata, and Prayaschita, the duty of the Brahma. 38. In the same way, he released Ayurveda, the science of medicine, Dhanurveda, the science of archery, Gandharva Veda, the science of music, and Sthapatya Vedya, the science of architecture, severally from his easterly and other mouths.
Yeah.
Verse 39. The all-seeing Brahma then discharged from all his four mouths the class of literature known by the name of Itihasa and Purana, which is recognized as the fifth Veda. Verse 40. Similarly, he sent out a pair of sacrifices from each of his easterly and other mouths. Shodashi and Ukta from the eastern, Purishi and Agnistoma from the southern, Aptoryama and Atiratra from the western, and Vajapeya and Gosava from his northern mouth. In the same order, he evolved the four pillars of virtue, that is, Vidya, purity acquired through knowledge of God, Dana, charity prompted by compassion, Tapas, austerity, and Satya, truthfulness, as well as the four ashrams or stages of life and the mode of life prescribed for each. Verse 42. The Savitra, a vow of purity undertaken for a period of 3 days, following the ceremony of Upanayana or investiture with the sacred thread for the japa of the Gayatri, the Prajapatya, a vow of celibacy undertaken for a period of 1 year, the Brahma, a vow of celibacy undertaken for the entire period of prosecuting the study of the Vedas, and the Brihat, a vow of lifelong celibacy, are the four modes of life prescribed for a brahmachari, religious student. Even so, Varta, agriculture and other vocations sanctioned by the Shastras, Sanchaya, officiating at sacrificial performances, Shalina, living on whatever may be got without asking, and Shiloncha, living on food grains found scattered and gleaned from the fields after the harvest has been reaped, or from the grain market when the stock has either been sold or removed. These are the four means of livelihood prescribed for a Brahmana householder. Verse 43. Similarly, Vaikhanashas, those living on the produce of uncultivated land, Valakilyas, those who give away the old stock of food grains in receiving a new one, Audumbaras, those who live on fruits, etc., brought exclusively from the quarter which they happen to face when quitting their bed after a night's rest, and Phenapas, those who live on fruits, etc., dropped from trees of their own accord, are the four types of Vanaprasthas anchorites dwelling in the forest in the third stage of their life.
You can imagine how they lived at that time and who taught them to live or what motivated them to live. See, all these things, if you are doing it in our present state of mind, that we need proof for all these things. If we say, then nothing can be said. Otherwise, you can clearly see that this is something unbelievable. Like you see, and this is something which is so advanced at that time. Advanced, I would say, advanced. See, they have understood these things, and you know, and it is not some cock and bull story or something like that. When they are giving so much of details, see, so much of details, and then the consequence and other thing like that. The depth of their mind, we can clearly see. Depth of their buddhi can clearly see. See, so just imagine this thing. How advanced these people were there. Thousands of centuries, not 1 or 2 centuries. And it's not even thousands of centuries, millions of centuries we can call it as. See? Because we cannot understand that, then we will say it is 6,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago. That's just a joke. That 6,000 and 5,000 and anything. We can say anything like that. See? When you do not accept any of these things, you will say anything like that. God is also not there, and we are all the fools who must be worshipping this and that and other thing like that. My God, that's the sort of this is the sort of uh, the education which we get, and all the time we want proof, we want this and that and everything like that. They don't understand everything doesn't need a proof. You see, the child when it comes out, it doesn't say, "Are you really my mother? Where is my father?" The child doesn't know anything about it. It only cries. It doesn't know. Whole education is with the mother. She knows now the child is this and that. It has to be. She has to feed that child. The child how it sucks this thing when she is taken to the nearer to this one, and why it just sucks and why pulls it so that the water will be, I mean the milk will be coming into the mouth. See, who taught her that all these things? How that technique was installed earlier to life. See, all these things, when we think of it, we have zero idea of anything. We only think that we are very intelligent and we are advanced. Intelligence is one aspect of it. Intelligence, we can say foolish intelligence it is. And then we think over and above that we are very advanced. We are very highly sophisticated. What sort of sophistication we are doing? Killing animals and eating the flesh of it. Why not kill human beings also? That also you will do. Say, just taste of it. Like, so this is the thing. Our education, what we call education, is not an education. See, education, real education is this. Sudhasagar and all these things, reading and making our life sublime, and meaningful, and live simple, and stop cheating and doing all the wrong things for the society. You tell me one single idea or one single anything which is not cheating the society. They don't call it cheating. It is business. It is business, yeah? And it is brilliant business. See? This is the thing. We have to really read the scriptures to understand that we have zero idea of anything. Okay? And we are only empty headed, headed and thinking ourselves to be great. Our ancestors were greatest, and they cannot be, they made a life, they brought life into, so just imagine how they have divided the society and everything else, and which we think that we are doing it's all wrong earlier, and there no equality is there for all the people. Oh yeah, you can make equal everyone, policeman as well as the chore also. Yeah, you make it equal, everything equal. You know, you make it the little boy and the father also equal. We want to make it equal. See, this is the thing. When we do all these things without knowing head or tail and commenting and passing on books after books, saying that this is that, and everything like that. They have to read these scriptures, 2,000 pages, and then understand what depth these scriptures were. Yeah. Now, if I say that, then they want to investigate how could he get all this information? How did he find that? This is the, this is the, this. In other words, whatever is earlier, we want to think that it is not at all true. Anything is not true. It's the modern things is all true. So, this is the thing. It's exactly like we love mobile. We don't love the telephone, the old system of telephone and talking on the telephone. We love mobile, and then we love now more things on the mobile also. Different things. So we are eternally being sold out to from one technique to another technique. Until death comes to us, we are only in this business. What we don't realize is we have lost the precious human life, and to not to be born again. Not to be born again. But you have to believe that, then only you will do all these things, not to be born again. But you do not know that you will be born again, either as an animal which you killed, or or you are going to come out of something which you hated. So the hatred need to be removed. So how to remove the hatred? Become the child of that hated person. You will be born again, or the child of as the hated person, so that your mind now becomes clean, and because he is your father or mother. So the child, in the child's mind now, that older hatred is gone, because now he became a child. So you are now lovable, not in the previous life. You are now lovable. Now, if you don't have any more sankalpa, earlier sankalpas and everything like that, then you will lead a life in such a way, and so that you will not be born again. It is possible. Otherwise, you will be punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. This is our biography. And we will not be born again. We say, no, we are born again and again, all the time. Either as a human being, or as an animal, or as the trees you know, as trees or any other thing, even the smallest chiras, worms. See, just imagine being from human being birth and becoming a worm. See, becoming a very dirty, dirtiest of the animal or something like that. You find, can you conceive that? No, we don't conceive that. That's why we are doing, keep on doing the wrong things. If we conceive like the older people, then they will be thinking of the Lord all the time and chanting the name of the Lord. And they will say Ramanam Tarakam. Ram Nam. You chant Karo. Tarakam. It will allow you to cross over on Krishna, Ramakrishna, Govinda. Yeah. Whatever name is. God's name will make you cross this samsara, river of samsara. Samsara is like an ocean or a river, and we cross that with the mantra. Mantra of the Lord's name is a mantra for us. Manana trayate iti mantra. Manana, all the time you do the chanting of it, and then it will trayate. It will allow you to cross over. Isn't it? It's exactly like the child crying for milk. It keeps on crying and then trayate. What happens? Mother comes and takes the child and also and immediately takes her to and gives her the stanapana. And the child drinks. This is the thing. Like keep an open mind. When you read all these things, keep an open mind and also a favorable mind. Favorable mind. If you keep on arguing with yourself in your mind and trying to prove this is wrong, that is wrong, this book is wrong and that book is wrong and this sentence is wrong, then you don't grow. You are only, and you become not a very likable person also. Because any conversation you will show that you are right. See, who will like you? Tell me. If you do like this. So understand that this is the most respectable book and revered book, and it can give you the passport to the passport for the end of life. No more birth. No more birth. You will not be born again. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, that is not there. See, it will, because this is the thing which will make you concentrate on the Lord, not to investigate, not to prove if this book is wrong. Then you are finished. You will be another, animal or something like that. You are unfit to be even a man. So this is the thing. Understand clearly. Okay. To understand clearly all this garbage which is happening in the world and other things like that, all these things are a joke. As far as spirituality is concerned, it's just a joke. It's just it doesn't matter whatever they do and everything. They are like coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. So the people who are wanting what we call not anymore to be birth, mukti. Mukti. For them this is most useful. They are most useful. Immediately the mukti is guaranteed. Immediately the mukti is guaranteed. You keep on reading it, mukti is guaranteed. Huh? But if you are trying to argue with the book, another thing like that, it is like, same thing. Again you want to be born again. See? Jai Shri Krishna, go to you, Chantaji.
We are on verse 43. I'll read from the beginning. Similarly, Vaikhanasas, those living on the produce of uncultivated land, Valakilyas, those who give away the old stock of food grains on receiving a new one. Audamburas, those who live on fruits, etc., brought exclusively from the quarter which they happen to face when quitting their bed after a night's rest. And Phenapas, those who live on fruits, etc., dropped from trees of their own accord, are the four types of Vanaprasthas, anchorites, dwelling in the forest in the third stage of their life. And the Kutichaka, the he who lives in a thatched hut at one place, fully observing the rules of conduct prescribed for a recluse. The Bahudaka, he who regards the rules of conduct as of secondary importance and accords a superior place to knowledge. The Hamsa, he who treads the path of knowledge. And the Nishkriya or Paramahamsa, he who has attained spiritual wisdom and Jivan Mukti or liberation in this very life. These are the four types of sannyasis or recluses, those who have renounced their hearth and home in the fourth or last stage of their life.
See how nicely they have made it. Do you think that the police are required, or there is, some other persons are required to control these people and other things? Nothing is required. No? It is self-controlled by themselves. In the forest, who is going to check you? So they are only fallen fruits they are eating. That's why they are called by that name. And if you say that, oh no, they might be cheating, it is not your business to find out what is they are doing, whether they are cheating and everything. It's their business. They can do whatever they want to do it. After coming to the forest and after deciding to be like this, you mean to say they are going to cheat or anything like that? If they cheat themselves only, no? Why they will do cheating and other things like that? You see, why they will do? Lord Rama and the Sita and all those, they were there for 14 years, and you mean to say they cooked the food? They cooked the food? No, they just ate fruits. Fruits. Whatever eatable comes, whether it is, whether it is a leaf or vegetable, most of it are, they live simple, in other words. So this is to be noticed, and admire. My God, see how much detail they have given, how much details and how much painstaking they have written down. Also, we tried to meet this the writer of this, but we could not get his address or anything like that. But we can again try to find out and meet them and learn something more about how they live and everything. Okay? But for them also, this is a very difficult task, because the pages after pages they have to write, translate, and number the slokas and everything. It's not an easy task and everything like that. When we give 1,000 rupees or something like that, we think it's very big and everything like that. No, this is not. It is not big. It's one. Each book is something like 300 or 400 rupees, and the next one is second volume is different. So there will be 2 volumes for this book, like that. Some 800 rupees total it comes. It's nothing, it is. So we are distributing this now for all the temples, so that they can be. Lord says, Go Brahmana Hitayacha. I am taking the avatar for go, that cows. Cows are his favorite. Cows and also Brahmanas. Brahmanas, because they are already on the Brahmapatra. That is why Brahmana. Their name suggests that you are Brahmapatan. See, you are not in the other business. You are only about the praising the Lord and chanting the Lord's names. On that you are there. See, so this is the thing. You are not begging for food. You are not going anywhere. See, there is fallen fruits are there, or leaves. We eat the leaves and fallen fruits. And you have left a lot of wealth behind, and you have not taken that wealth to the forest. The wealth has been donated there or given to your children, asking them to live like that, like you. This is the thing. This is how great they were, and compare that with us. See, compare that with us. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Guruji. Verse 44. Even so, the four branches of knowledge, that is, Anvikshiki, the knowledge of the spirit which is conducive to liberation, Trai, the knowledge of the ritual which leads to enjoyment in heaven, Varta, the technical knowledge of agriculture, commerce, etc., and Dandaniti, political science, and the four Vyahritis, or mystical formulae uttered at the beginning of the Gayatri, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, and the combination of the three, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, issued from his mouths in the same order, while Pranava, the mystic syllable Om, flowed from the cavity of his heart. Verse 45. Again, the Vedic meter of Ushnik appeared from the hair on the body of the all powerful Creator, and Gayatri, another Vedic meter, from his skin. The Trishtub meter emerged from his flesh, Anushtub from his sinews, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of creation. From his marrow emanated Pankti, while Brihati came forth from his breath. Similarly, his consciousness came to be the heart consonants, while his body itself passed by the name of vowels. His indriyas are termed as the sibilants, the sounds represented by the letters sh, sh, sa, and ha, and his physical strength goes by the name of antahsthas, or semi-vowels, the sounds represented by the letters yara, la, va, and the seven notes of the gamut, Shabda, Shajja, Rishabha, Gandhara, Madhyama, Panchama, Devata, and Nishada, proceeded from the recreation of the Lord of created beings. Being Shabda Brahma, Veda or sound personified, Brahma is manifest in the form of Vaikhari, articulate utterance, and unmanifest in the form of Pranava. Beyond him shines the Supreme, who pervades everything as Parabrahman, the infinite, and is possessed of various potencies as the Almighty Lord. Verse number 49. Having cast off his previous body, which had been defiled by sinful thought, and which continued to exist in the form of fog, Brahma now assumed another body distinct from the former and set his heart once more on creation. Realizing in his heart that the creation had not expanded even at the hands of seers, Marichi, and others who were endowed with extraordinary powers, he thought once more within himself, O Vidura, oh, how strange that even though I am ever up and doing, my progeny are not multiplying. Surely an adverse fate stands in my way. Brahma always did what was desirable at the moment. While he was thus waiting for a more propitious providence, Brahma's body became twofold. A human body, whether male or female, has come to be known by the name of Kaya. The footnote says the word Kayam has been derived from the noun Ka, a name of Brahma, Kasya Idam, that which belongs to Brahma. in Sanskrit only because it originally belonged to Brahma. Those two distinct parts turned out to be a man and a woman. Of those two forms, the male was Swayambhuva. The footnote says the Manu owed his name to his father Swayambhu, the self born Brahma. The word has been derived as Swayambhuva Apatyam Puman, the son of Swayambhu. So Swayambhu, the of these two forms, the male was Swayambhuva Manu, the first independent sovereign of the entire globe. And the female came to be the spouse of that noble soul and was called Shatarupa. The creation then multiplied through copulation. Swayambhuva Manu too begot 5 issues through Shatarupa. They were Priyavrata and Uttanapada, and 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti by name, O most pious Vidura. He gave away Akuti to the eldest to Ruchi, a lord of created beings, the middle one Devahuti to the sage Kardama, another Prajapati, and Prasuti, the youngest, to Daksha, one of the 10 sons of Brahma enumerated in verses 22 and 23 above. The progeny of these 3 girls filled the whole universe. Thus ends the 12th discourse in Book 3 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramahamsa Samhita. Discourse number 13, the Lord's descent as the divine boar. Sri Shuka continued. On hearing this most sacred discourse from the lips of the sage Maitreya, who was proceeding with the same, O king, Vidura made the following enquiry again. Fond as he was of hearing the stories of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, Vidura said, having secured a spouse after his own heart, O sage, what did Emperor Swayambhuva, the beloved son of Brahma, the self-born, do next? Full of reverence as I am, please narrate to me, O most pious Maitreya, the story of that royal sage, the first sovereign of the globe. Since he had taken refuge in Vishwaksena, Lord Vishnu, the universal Lord, or he who exerts his power all round. The highest reward commended by the wise of learning acquired by men with great pains extending over a long period is to hear the praises of those who have installed the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the bestower of liberation, in their heart. Sri Shuka went on, verse number 5. Then Vidura, who was full of modesty and had the honor of bearing in his lap the feet of Sri Krishna, who was no other than the 1,000-headed Purusha, spoke thus and urged Maitreya to the narration of the Lord's stories. The sage's hair stood erect and he replied to him as follows. Verse number 6, Maitreya said, when Swayambhuva Manu came into existence with his consort Shatarupa, he bowed respectfully to Brahma, the repository of the Vedas, and addressed him thus with joined palms. You are the one undisputed Father, progenitor as well as the sustainer of all living beings. Yet in what way can we, your children, be of service to you? Verse 8. We make obeisance to you, O praiseworthy Father. From among duties, we may be found capable of kindly prescribe that by discharging which we may enjoy celebrity all round in this world and a happy destiny in the other. Brahma replied, verse 9, may all be well with both of you, O sovereign of the globe. I am pleased with you, my son, since you with a guileless heart you have, of your own accord, surrendered yourself to me with the words, enjoin me what to do. The way in which sons should offer worship to their father, my valiant son, is only this, that free from jealousy towards their brothers, they should reverently and dutifully carry out his behest to the best of their ability. Verse 11. Begetting through her issues that may prove to be your compeers, in virtue. Therefore, rule over the earth with righteousness and worship the Supreme Person through sacrificial performances. The best service you will be doing to me will be through the governance of the people, O ruler of men. Lord Sri Hari, the controller of the senses, will be pleased with you when he sees you looking after your subjects. Verse 13. Their labors prove of little avail who fail to win the pleasure of Lord Janardana, who reveals himself in the form of sacrifices. For that way they disregard their own self, who is no other than the Lord. Verse 14. Manu said, I shall abide by your command, O destroyer of sin. Kindly assign an abode to me, as well as to my progeny, my Lord. The terrestrial globe, which is the abode of all living beings, stands submerged in the vast expanse of water. Effort should be made, my Lord, to recover the goddess Earth. Maitreya continued, verse 16. Finding the earth submerged in water as at the time of final dissolution, Brahma taxed his brain for a long time as to how he should be able to lift her up. Even as I was engaged in pushing on the work of creation, he said to himself, the earth, which was all the time being washed by the waters, sank to the lowest depths. Now, what should be done in the matter by us, who have been charged with the work of creation? Let the Lord, from whose heart or thought I sprang, contrive some device for me. As he was thus reflecting, a tiny boar, just as big as a thumb, emerged all of a sudden from one of his nostrils, O sinless Vidura. Verse 19. While Brahma stood looking on, the boar in the air instantly grew to the size of an elephant, O Vidura, descendant of Bharata. This was really most wonderful. Beholding that strange form of a boar, Brahma with Marichi and other Brahmanas, Sanaka and his three brothers, and Swayambhuva Manu speculated about it in various ways. 21. Who can be this weird creature standing in the guise of a boar? Oh, how strange that it came out of my nostrils. Even though at first sight it looked only as big as the upper part of a thumb, in an instant it grew to the size of a huge rock. Might it be Lord Vishnu himself who is exercising my mind? Verse 23. While Brahma was thus pondering along with his sons, the Lord presiding over sacrifices for the boar was none other than he, who now looked like a huge mountain, roared aloud. Verse 24. The all-powerful Sri Hari delighted Brahma and those foremost Brahmanas by his loud roar, which made the quarters resound. Hearing the roar of the Lord disguised as a boar, which removed their perplexity, the sages who all belonged to Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka began to extol him through the holy mantras of the three Vedas. Verse 26. The Lord, whose form has been glorified in the Vedas, took the tribute paid to his virtues by those holy men as Veda itself. He gave a loud roar once more, and sporting like a lordly elephant, entered the waters in the interest of the gods. Verse 27. The divine boar, the savior of the earth, who was possessed of a steel-like frame, and whose skin had a thick coat of stiff bristles, first sprang into the air, erecting his tail and shaking his mane, and tore the clouds with his hoofs. He shone most splendid at that time with his white tusks, shedding a luster wherever he cast his glance. Having disguised himself as a boar, even though he was no other than Lord Narayana, representing all the sacrifices in his own person, he went smelling about with his nose in search of the earth. And even though possessed of fearful tusks, he regarded with a gentle look the Brahmanas, Marichi and others, who were extolling him, and dived into the water. Verse 29. With its bowel stone opened by the headlong plunge taken by its body, which resembled a mountain of adamant, the ocean thundered aloud, and tossing up its high waves like so many arms, cried as it were in distress, "Protect me, O Lord of sacrifices." Cleaving the waters with its hoofs, which were sharp as arrows, the Lord, who represents all the sacrifices in his person, then reached the other end of that fathomless ocean and discovered in the depths of it the terrestrial globe, which is the abode of all living beings, and which the Lord had absorbed into his body while about to retire at the end of the previous kalpa. Koti Koti pranams to you, Param Pujya Guruji, Devis and Mahatmas. Let us read these again and come back for more. We'll go to Kritagnyata Prarthana now.
प्रार्थना करते हैं देश और धर्म के लिए, प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत की स्त्रियों के लिए और उनके विकास के लिए, प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे अन्नदाता किसानों के लिए तथा उन सभी के लिए जिनके श्रम से हमारे पात्र में प्रसाद आता है। ये प्रसाद जो हमें 3 से 5 बार मिलता है, भूख हो न हो तो भी मिल जाता है, इससे हमारा बौद्धिक, शारीरिक और मानसिक पोषण हो। हम निरहंकारी बने, दूसरों के बारे में सोचें और हमारे में क्षमा भाव जगे। इसी के साथ प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के तथा विश्व भर में कई ऐसे लोगों के लिए जिनको शायद 2 वक्त का प्रसाद मिले ना मिले पता नहीं होता। उनकी सारी आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति हो, उनका विकास हो और उनके विकास से देश और विश्व का विकास हो। प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के 17 से 21 वर्ष की आयु के सभी युवक और युवतियों के लिए नीति द्वारा यह अनिवार्य किया जाए कि उनको सेना में प्रशिक्षण मिले, जिससे कि वो अच्छे नागरिक बने। प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के सेना बल के लिए सीमाएं बंद हो, घुसपैठ न हो, आतंकवाद न हो और हमारे जवानों के प्राण व्यर्थ में न जाएं। उनका आर्थिक और पारिवारिक जीवन हर्ष, उल्लास और विकास से भरपूर रहे। प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे पुलिस बल के लिए नीति द्वारा उनके वेतन 10 गुना बढ़ाए जाए, उनकी जैविक अवस्था में सुधार लाया जाए, उनकी क्षमताओं में बढ़ोतरी लाई जाए और वो सदैव न्याय और धर्म का संस्थापन करते रहें। प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे परम पूज्य गुरुजी द्वारा संकल्पित सारे कार्यों के लिए। ये सारे ही संकल्प जैसे निवृत्ति, गुरुकुल, गीता वितरण इत्यादि का उद्देश्य है भारत के कई करोड़ों अच्छे गरीबों को लाभ पहुंचाना। ये सारे ही संकल्प बड़े से बड़े पैमाने पर साकार हो और इसका लाभ देश के कोने कोने तक पहुंचे। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के शासक इस देश को उसकी खोई हुई संस्कृति की ओर ले जा सके। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के हर जिले में कम से कम 2001 एकड़ के फैलाव वाले महाजलाशय बनाए जाए, जिससे कि वहां भरपूर जल रहे। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के हर जिले में कम से कम 200 सौर शक्ति से संचालित ट्रामें चलाई जाए। इनके माध्यम से हर एक गांव को जिला मुख्यालय से जोड़ा जाए, जिससे कि यातायात में सुविधा हो, पर्यावरण भी स्वच्छ रहे और व्यय भी कम हो। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ईश्वर हमारे परम पूज्य गुरुजी को 120 वर्ष का स्वास्थ्य से परिपूर्ण आयुष दें और गुरुजी सदैव हमारा मार्गदर्शन करते रहें। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ईश्वर सभी सत्संगियों को, सभी विभूतियों को और उनके परिवारजनों को स्वास्थ्य से परिपूर्ण लंबी आयुष दें और सभी गुरुजी द्वारा दिखाए गए पथ पर चलें। सारा श्रेय गुरुजी को जाता है। आज का जो भी पुण्य है उनके श्री चरणों में समर्पित करते हुए देश और धर्म के लिए प्रार्थना करते हैं। तथास्तु, तथास्तु, तथास्तु।
प्रार्थना करते हैं देश के प्रत्येक विद्यालयों एवं संस्थानों में दिन में 3 बार संपूर्ण वंदे मातरम गाया जाए, जिससे कि नागरिकों में देशभक्ति की भावना जागृत हो। तथास्तु। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। वंदे मातरम। भारत माता की जय। जय हिंद। जय श्री कृष्ण।